this girl saw a shocking news report on TV. Recently, several women had been murdered in their town.
A teenager from California is still missing after a 1-week.
Sarah sat in front of the TV, staring at the screen for a while. Suddenly, her expression changed. Her face went stiff. Her eyes locked onto the necklace around the victim's neck. It looked exactly like the one her father had given her on her birthday. Sarah quickly took out her own necklace and began comparing it to the one on the screen. Every scratch, every mark, it was all the same. Maybe it was just a coincidence. But the doubt had already crept into her mind. She quickly took a photo of her necklace and started searching for it online. She noticed that all the women targeted by the serial killer resembled her late mother. Now, her suspicion grew even stronger. Quietly, she began searching her father Mike's room. In one drawer, she found a small glass bottle. It looked strange. Then she remembered, just a few days ago while cleaning, she had seen an empty bottle just like this in the trash. But that one had a torn label. Putting everything together, her heart began to pound. Just then, she heard a car outside. Her father Mike was back. Sarah rushed to her room, trying not to show any fear. But then she remembered, the same news report was still playing on the TV. She hurried back and quickly turned it off. Mike opened the door, but Sarah couldn't act normal when she saw him. Sensing her nervousness, Mike gently held her hand. Frightened, Sarah dropped the plate she was holding. Panicked, she began picking up the broken pieces, but one shard of glass cut her hand. Mike took her to the wash basin, cleaned the wound, and bandaged it. Suddenly, faint noises came from the attic upstairs. Sarah remembered how Mike often quietly went up there in the middle of the night. She couldn't hold back anymore and asked, "Dad, where did you get that necklace?" Mike replied that he bought it from a local shop and hadn't noticed any marks. He added, "If you don't like it, I'll exchange it." Then, after a pause, he said, "No, actually, it was the last piece." That deepened Sarah's suspicion. As soon as Mike left the room, Sarah tiptoed up to the attic. The floor was weak and she fell through. Hearing the sound, she was sure Mike would now know someone had been up there. But she didn't stop. She found a box filled with jewelry belonging to different women. One of the rings even had dried blood on it. Now there was no doubt left. Sarah was sure her father was a serial killer and he was the one behind the murders of the women in town. The next day, after Mike left the house, Sarah started preparing to run away. But just as she reached the door, she stopped. She remembered that her mother's killer had never been found, and she had always felt like someone was watching her. In fact, Sarah had agoraphobia, the fear of open spaces. She had panic attacks whenever she tried to go outside. She tried to steady herself, but as soon as she stepped forward, the world began to spin. So, she backed away and hid inside the house again. When Mike returned, Sarah couldn't keep it inside anymore. She showed him the jewelry and directly asked, "What is all this for?" Mike calmly replied, "These are your mother's old things. I found them at the office." Sarah then showed him the blood-stained ring and the necklace. Mike said, "The shopkeeper told me the design just looks like that." Then he asked, "Are you taking your medicines properly? One of the side effects is confusion." But Sarah shouted, "Do you know her? Did you kill her?" Mike went silent. Sarah ran upstairs and locked the door. Furious, Mike began drilling through the door to break it down. But when Mike got inside, he said, "I'm not going to hurt you." Sarah calmed down a little. She quietly picked up a knife and went downstairs to get some water. While walking in the dark, she suddenly stepped on an earring. But this one didn't match any of the jewelry she had seen in the box. Mike came downstairs and said, "Give me that."